Well, good day, everybody. Howdy. Thank you for tuning in the We'll Fix It team. Yes, it's been a little bit since we've done a few videos. I've been really working hard at the shop and we're cranking hard on the big channel. But today, weather's not too bad. It's not freezing cold. The past couple weeks, we've had some really, really cold weather. And so I'm going to be working on this is a Stover CT2 hit and miss motor that I acquired probably back in November. Yeah, November. It was the last tractor show. Yep, I had to think for a minute. Anyhow, came from a local place here. It's neat when you can get old relics like this right here and actually have some story behind it. But this motor here came out of a mill in the real close vicinity of where I'm from right here, and it's been here its whole life. Kind of makes me possibly the third owner. I know the man got it from the mill, and I got it from him. He knew that, well, we both could tell it had compression. It was complete. It had been worked on. I had to, you could tell somebody had been trying to get it running, I guess, maybe. So I had to put some stuff back connected right on with the rocker arm and some other little doodads. But got that, and I had a really weak spark. And so I've gotten a Magneto off eBay from a reputable seller, and we're going to see if this thing will throw some fire and see if we can get this thing running. I'll call this the first startup probably, and, that mill closed down 30 years ago, and this motor sat probably in somewhere in the like the maintenance part in the back, probably for however many years when they switched over to electric motors running a lot of the equipment and everything. So I imagine this motor is dated at 1930. It's a Stover CT2 hit and miss. So by the way, you can look those up on other YouTube channels and you can see them and what they look like. This motor here is in really good shape. I'm going to show you here in a second, but we're going to do a little video of me swapping out the Magneto and see if I can get this thing to get it going. We'll call this a get it going video. All right, guys, so sit tight and enjoy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just to give you a little bit of a overview of what we see here. These are flywheels, and this is just to kind of carry the momentum. They're not wide enough for a belt themselves. I guess you could get one to go on there. I've seen it done, but mostly you'd have another pulley. And depending upon which way you wanted to drive your piece of equipment, you'd put that auxiliary pulley on each one of these shafts. This has a closed crankcase, which means it was used in an area that probably had a lot of debris. And those are neat. I've got an old Ottawa hit and miss, or I'm sorry, excuse me, it's a throttle governor engine. We'll be getting that. I had it running, but there's some stuff that somebody's done wrong on the fuel system. So I've got to fix the way they've done it for the mixer. We'll do a video on that later. We'll get to that. That's the throttle governor. It hits every time, but can run really slow. That's a whole nother video. But I have been working on this thing prior, just to see what I had and what I could do. I originally had to change, they had the rocker arm backwards. I had to take this pin out here and then spin the rocker arm around the right way, which then got this geometry back right and keeps this an actual position like it's supposed to be. They did have it flipped around. This was it just sort of flopped and it was backwards. So there was a lot of clearance. This is called an atmospheric valve. It's able to just open and close by the suction created from the piston when the exhaust valve is closed. And right now it's in its closed position. When it gets up to RPM, this rod right here will come out. And then this little piece right here will latch it until it gets to a certain RPM, allowing this rod to get out of the way, shut the exhaust valve off, create compression, and fire the fuel. Fuel is coming up through the fuel tank that you put fuel in right here. You have a mixer way up underneath here, which is sort of like a carburetor, but it has no fuel bowl. It has a fuel line drops into a little tank there. There's the mixer. Let me get my fingers right here. You've got a little knob on the front here that you adjust the fuel ratio. And there's the Magneto. I've been working on it. Got spark at the points right here, but it's just real weak when I can't even hardly get any. You should be able to hold the wire off a little bit. This one I can hold the wire off a ½ an inch, and that sucker will pop really hot. So I tried some condensers to see if the condenser was shorted, which is a capacitor, no go, because they age out, and there's a possibility why this motor was set to the side. The Magneto finally just got weak, and these windings right here are kind of iffy, and you can buy these separate, but by the time you buy these little windings separate, you may have to repolarize the little deals right here that slide up and down to create it. I just got a known working unit, and we'll see what happens. We'll swap it out. This right here is you got a lever right here that you flip up and down. This right here is for starting it. That's for running it. That's your timing retard, believe it or not, or it lets, backs the timing off. Put water in up here. That's what would keep it cooled off. So, yeah, that's pretty much a little rundown of how that works. You turn the motor. If you're standing in front of it, you turn it away from you. So you, like that there. So, anyhow. All right. Okay, so I've got a few tools that looks like we don't need much to do this. I don't know, we're going to see here. By the way, thank you guys for tuning in. That little static you hear in the background, I'm just listening to, I like listening to that 11 meter band a lot, which is just your basic CB radio. You'd be surprised what, you'll hear all kind of different places just coming in because the AM waves are so sensitive to atmospheric conditions. They travel so long. I hear stuff from Puerto Rico and Canada. It's just like, it just keeps going and going. And so there it is right there. There's the Magneto in its hole. And it looks like there's a bushing on this screw right here that goes through that's not on the other Magneto. We'll take a quick look. I've got it over here. Moving some stuff around. These are made by Wico. This one dates back to, it's got a date on it somewhere. This one here was from 1930. The sticker, the emblem's a little off, but these are really old. And they used them all through different years. No, it's got, looks like it's got the little, it does. It's got this little bushing that goes on there. And you can turn that. This one here was worn down where it took a long time for the latch out rod to pull down on this to pop to make it spark. This one here is in really good shape. Looks like it was painted black at one time, and somebody tried to get that off, which I don't care. I'm not worried about, as long as it functions. I've got a cover that's got a nice plate. I can swap it out later once I get there. But for right now, we're going to leave it as a whole unit because it said it to be a working unit. Now I've got some foam and all that I want to take and get out of there real quick, so I'm going to take the air hose to it. And to do so, I'm going to stop the camera just for a second so I don't have you sitting there looking at me doing nothing. So you won't even know it though. It'll flip right back. Okay, all right, that was painless. Got this thing nice and cleaned out now. We're gonna put it in, just in case, for the heck of it. Let me show you a little bit about this right quick here. Now hopefully I don't mess this up too bad. What's happening here is when this thing turns, you see it moving. This rod slides back and forth right here, moving this. And then what happens is it pulls this thing down. Oh man, I'm trying my best here. I'm an auto technician guy, not a cameraman. It'll pull, we get this in the camera, pull this thing down, and the magnetic field generated because of the pieces. I'll explain it real quick if you don't mind hanging out, because it kind of messes up. It's just something that I've looked on YouTube, but I've not seen very many videos at all on how these things work and what they're doing. But let me see if I'm in the camera right here. This thing here will pull this down, and these windings are wound around these two rods that are magnetic. And there's also magnets up here. And the magnets up here are what hold this back up. It'll come all the way down by this little spring that's inside of here. When it gets to a certain level, that spring is going to pull these down real fast. Pow! And then what it does is the magnetic field that these two rods have that run these around this wire creates electrons to be able to flow. Excites them for a second because you move the magnets past a wire and it makes electrons move. And they've wound so many wires around here, it allows a lot of electrons to move and really quickly, which creates a high voltage for a nanosecond, which creates the spark. And what you've got going on right here is it's building up a charge on this capacitor that's in here. And you break the connection, allowing this capacitor to discharge around these windings that are wound around the other windings, which then goes out to your spark plug. So you take and you'll get a primary charge charging your capacitor gets charged, and then it releases that primary charge into a whole buttload of windings that are also reactive to this magnet above it right here. And then that's what happens. Well, these things you'll lose magnetism on these right here. Then you'll also lose conductivity of the wire because of the sheath that's around the wire starts to deteriorate because of whatever reason, the conditions it was in. So hopefully the one I got will hold up for a while. That's old too. Anyhow, that's why I change that capacitor first, because it relies on the charging up of these primaries first. So that's a little explanation of the Magneto. And let's get back to work over here and see what we can get going. Are we still in shot? Make sure, because I moved everything around. Yeah, I think that'll work. Is it really neat I've got fuel in the tank, and it's kind of cold outside, but it'd be nice if it would fire up after I put this on while it's all, in one swoop, because that would be just a sweet video. So hopefully that happens here. If it doesn't, we'll fool with it. These things are finicky. I've seen a lot of videos of them running though, and I have seen them running when they're right. They'll actually crank right up. That's skip rolling, and I don't know if you can hear it over the radio, over the microphone, but you can really hear the Southern Colorado. Ain't that neat? You'll just hear them talking, and that's just CB radios. I encourage people to get into just CB radios, because you'd be surprised that's a man talking on just a bought CB radio with an antenna probably stuck to his truck. And there's enough conditions out there that you can just catch the airwaves, and it doesn't take anything special. It just takes the right kind of conditions, and you can have a lot of fun with that. Now, I just got some old stock radios I talk on, but I love to do it. Just get the conditions just right, have a really good antenna. You can really talk a long ways with just 5 watts. It's absolutely amazing. But I have to do a video of barefoot skip talking one day, so people can show you just what you can do with just a stock radio. Building sweats a lot in here. So we've got it mounted on. Let's see here. I wonder what kind of ignition we'll have. I have a wire. I've got a wire that I've used just for testing, but I actually have some sheathed wire. Let's see here. I'm gonna bring the camera down just a little bit. I'm gonna open the exhaust valve, or the atmospheric valve, which is the intake, just to give me a little cheater. Here, find my wire that I had. I think this is it right here. I just was using this to test with. Let's see here. I don't know if it's got any. Oh, I can just take the plug out of the way. I can just use my hand. Big old spark plugs too, man. I love this. I even tried a new plug. I bought one of these new, so you can see it in the camera. It's huge. Let me see if I've got a regular spark plug for reference. Yeah, check this out. So this is the spark plug you would normally see in your push mower or riding lawnmower, and this is what's in this 2 horsepower hit and miss. Look at that. I just love the way spark plugs look. I'm fascinated by the look. I love the porcelain on these big old spark plugs. I even have here's one that came in it. So, and I have one just like this new I found on eBay. But they use a 15/16 inch. I'm sorry, no, it's an 1 1/16 socket. It's huge. I think this spark plug is good, but Anyhow, that's a little bit of a, yeah. Okay, all right, do we have spark though? Let me see here. That's what we want to see here. Yeah, there's some spark. Let's see. Yeah. Let me see if I can get that in camera. Just bear with me. It's gonna flop a little bit, guys. Hold your eyeballs. I hope I don't give nobody a, what do you call it? One of those things where they go into a seizure. All right, this is what we want to look for right here. Let's see if I can get it to in a shot. Look at that. So we've got spark. Look at that. Oh yes, good stuff, good stuff. So we're doing this in real time, guys. I don't know what's going to, I think there's still fuel in my little tank. We'll see if we're going to thread this, the plug back in there, spark plug. We say plug around here. We're all the way in here. Let's make sure we still got spark on my plug. All right, here we go. Put that on. Oh yeah. Okay. I can open that gap just a little bit, it looks like. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay. I think it looked a little hotter when I had it in some. Yeah, that's good right there. I like that. All right. Sparks through me and starts the motor up. My big stupid long wire. So I should have, I should be able to pull a little bit of fuel up in here with my thumb. This thing's got a lot of compression. Okay, we've got a little bit of fuel there. We're going to close our little chokey choke off and see if it shakes everything off the table. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see here. Turn this. All right. Get back around here. We got some gas there. All right. Let me get it for starting mode. All right. Yeah. Come on, buddy. Yeah. I call that a win. Yeah. Yes! Woohoo! Fun video, guys. Yeah, yeah. Look at this thing. We're going. Here we go. Oh no. Okay, okay. Thought you was gonna die on me. So now we can watch everything work. You can see the latch out doing its thing. Watch. Let's see. Lights on the choke there. You can run it a little while and not have to worry about it getting too hot. I do think I see a little bit of an oil leak, but yeah. All right, guys. Oh, yeah. What a fun that is. All right, I'm out. Thank you so much for watching the We'll Fix It team.